Hi teacher, my name is Fernando. Today I'm gonna be talking about the Russian Federation. I'll be talking about his customs, traditions, and his prohibitions. Okay, to get a little introduction of Russia, the Russian Federation has an area equivalent to 1/9 of the planet mainland, and with a great variety of relief and ecosystems. And his capital, I think, is the federal city of Moscow. Okay, first we are gonna be talking about traditions. The tradition number one is the 2 New Year's Eve. This is the most anticipated holiday in Russia, is the New Year's Eve, which is celebrated on the night of December 31 to January 1. And it's only comparable to the importance of Christmas in European countries. Some famous Russian person says that you will spend the next year as you enter to it. Okay, let's go to tradition number 2, the Maslenitsa. The Maslenitsa is a feast of pagan origin that is celebrated in Russia. This is a week before the beginning of the Lent and symbolizes the farewell to winter and the arrival of the spring. For this reason, the most typical food for this celebration is crepes, which due their round shape and golden color are associated with the sun. Okay, let's go to tradition number 3. This is called the Victory Day. The May 9. The Victory Day over the Nazi Germany is a very special and very emotional day for all the Russians, a celebration with eyes full of tears, as they call it in Russia. As a popular post-war song says, which tells the story of colossal pain, heroines, personal courage, and survival at all costs in something that should never be repeated. Okay, let's go to tradition number 4. This is called put on the tapochki. In Russia, when you enter into a house, you have to take off your shoes and put on the tapochki. But what is a tapochki? The tapochki are it's like some house slippers that your host will surely offer to you. That's all of this because outside of the houses in Russia, it's a lot of snow, and you can't bring your shoes with all the snow inside the house. Okay, let's go to tradition number 5. This is called gifts and flowers. Okay, in Russia, it's very common to make gifts both at parties and during visits. If you are invited to a house, it's very normal in Russia to make a gift to the person that invited you. Well, let's go to tradition number 6. This is called dacha or banya or shashlik. Depends on what part of Russia you are. Well, unknown of most of the foreigners, the word dacha is almost sacred to many Russians, especially the middle-aged ones and the advanced ones. Well, the dacha, the banya, or the shashlik, it's a word used to refer like a house that is usually located relatively close to the city and is used seasonally, like a vacation house. Let's go to tradition number 7. Do you know what is the most popular drink in Russia? Well, it's not vodka, if you think that. Far from it, almost all Russians drink tea, and they'll do it more than once a day, at home, at the cafeteria, on the train, often accompanied with cakes, sandwiches, chocolates, and a couple of teaspoons of sugar. Okay, let's talk about tradition number 9. This is about Russian trains, about one that it calls Platskart. It's like a tiny train, like for capacity of 54 passengers, and for many Russians is the cheapest, the most romantic, adventurous, and fun way to travel by train. Okay, let's talk about the tradition number 10. This is about beautiful girls, but they are always beautiful. One thing of many foreign visitors to Russia highlight is the beauty of their women. Obviously, I mean. But also how much sometimes they take care of their physical appearance, and it's that naturalness is not very fashionable among young Russian women. Many of them, especially if we talk about Moscow or other big cities, tend to dress well and put on makeup even to go to the supermarket. Okay, let's talk now about the prohibitions in Russia. Okay, let's go for our provision number 1, the gay publicity. Publicity of non-traditional sexual relations near minors is illegal in Russia. In practice, that means that anyone who runs a campaign for LGBT rights or equivalent or to heterosexual or gay relationships will be prosecuted. Okay, let's talk about the prohibition number 2. This is about anonymous blogs. Okay, under the law passed last year, blogs with more than 300 visits a day, including those on social media platforms, are required to register as a media outlet and follow regulations established by the Russian media law. If they don't, they are illegal. Okay, let's talk about the prohibition number 3. This is about the Occidental food. Moscow, the capital of the Russian Federation, has banned most of the food imports from the United States, the European Union, Canada, Australia, and other countries in relation for sanction imposed on Russia for its intervention in Ukraine. Okay, let's talk about the prohibition number 4. This is about a person, most specifically John McCain. Moscow banned United States Senator John McCain and the other American and European officials for traveling to Russia as a part of relatation against the West. Let's talk about prohibition number 5, and this is a very ridiculous one, but I'm still gonna mention the memes. The memes. Do you remember those memes that ask, "Where's Putin?" These memes will be illegal in Russia because Putin doesn't like it. The prohibition number 6. The movie of Tom Hardy. Russia banned Child 44, the Hollywood thriller about Soviet-era serial killer, after claiming that the film made the country resemble Mordor, the imaginary evil kingdom of the Lord Saga of the Rings. Prohibition number 7. Obscene language. Obscene language was banned last year in movies, television, shows, and other arts, as well as entertainment events in the country. Let's talk about prohibition number 8. The drug-related websites. Russia's media and technology watchdogs have the authority to shut down any website they deem illegal without a court order. Then let's talk about prohibition number 9. The lace underwear. Russia, along with Belarus and Kazakhstan, has in fact banned the lace underwear. The countries which form a customs union passed a law in 2013 that requires clothing that comes into contact with the skin to contain at least 6% of cotton for security reasons. And then the last one of our prohibitions, the alcohol in glass bottles prohibited. It will be not possible to buy alcohol in glass bottles near the stadiums. It will only be possible to buy beer in sponsored bars. Alright, let's talk about the customs. The number 1 in Russia is everyday rites and superstitions. Unlike a typical European house, the Russian one may be simple on the outside, but it's a temple on the inside. Due to the luxury of the property that the family can afford and the hospitality, the Russian hosts will not let you out without making you spend many hours at the table at the same cover of the homemade dishes of all kinds, with many cups of tea to accompany. Okay, let's talk about the custom number 2. It's about super clean. Cleaning the body is essential for Russians, while the European nobility of medieval times took off the unpleasant smell with perfumes. The Russian frequented the banya, since then it's almost a scared concept for the people. Okay, the next tradition is about January 5 to January 19, and it's called the Shivatki. The tradition of the country is during these days to give gifts to our friends and loved ones, as well as the people who need it most. That is why the Russians to take the streets to make donations. These actions are carried out in the commemoration for the gifts that the three kings brought to the child Jesus. Okay, let's talk about our next custom. It's about 12th of December, and it's the day of the Constitution of the Russian Federation. It's remembered on December 12th in 1993, where the Constitution was approved, and it's a very important date for the Russians. Okay, our next custom is about the carnival that is celebrated on March. This holiday celebrates the arrival of the spring. The streets of Russia dress up to party, and people have fun with costumes, dancing, food. The Russians love this 7-day party. It's a long standing tradition. Uy, pendejo. Okay, then we're gonna be talking about the etiquette rules. The number one is the greetings. The greetings are somewhat different if they make each other or greet other foreign people. Greeting people from the other countries is done in the traditional way. They shake hands if the greeting is between them. Their kisses are usually given near the corner of the lips. Women shake hands and they are the ones who should start the greeting. Holding out their hands, the other higher ranking people are the ones who should start the greeting. Next one is that you should look into the eyes when you're talking to a person. Of the person you're greeting, obviously. It's not very correct to look away. It can be interpreted as a sign of insecurity or mistrust. Public displays of affection beyond greeting are not very appropriate or widely accepted. Okay, the next one is the gestures and non-verbal communication. The sign of approval in graphic form will be raising the thumb. The way to call the waiter in a restaurant is to raise the palm of your hand in a discreet way and gesturing for him to approach to the table. The next one is the OK. In Russia, the gesture of OK or the OK is not used. It's made by hand and is used in many countries. Not only is not used, but is not well regarded. It's not well seen, the OK. The next one, the money. Although the official currency of Russia it's the ruble. The negotiations are done thinking in dollars and valuing all the terms of proposals in dollars. They not use the ruble, but they use dollars in business. The next one are the tips. As in other parts of the world, like here in Mexico, tips are reward for a service provided. Tips are usually given to waiters, bellboys, taxi drivers, etc. Alright, the next one, the locker rooms. Given the harsh weather conditions in the country, they usually wear warm clothing and footwear prepared to combat low temperatures. Next one are the superstition. Whistling indoors means for them the possibility of having bad luck in the future, especially in the fields of finance and the money. This one and the last one is the public transport. If we use any of the public means of transport, such as the subway, the bus, the tram, etc., we must always keep in mind that we must give the seat to a pregnant woman, people with small children, those who are loaded with many packages, the elderly people, people with disabilities or with mobility problems, etc.